The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, I tell you solemnly, it will be hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Yes, I tell you again, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. When the disciples heard this, they were astonished. Who can be saved then, they said. Jesus gazed at them. For men, he told them, this is impossible. For God, everything is possible. And Peter spoke, well, what about us, he said to him. We've left everything and followed you. What are we to have then? And Jesus said to him, I tell you solemnly, when all is made new and the Son of Man sits on his throne of glory, you yourself will sit on 12 thrones to judge the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses, brothers, sisters, father, mother, children, or land, for the sake of my name, will be repaid 100 times over, and also inherit eternal life. Many who are first will be last, and the last will be first. The Gospel of the Lord. This is a hard saying of the Lord, about having possessions and having too much. A rich man, well, if you have more than €1 in your bank account, you're rich. You're rich, so you're included in this. I might have €2 in my pocket, so I'm rich as well. It's hard for us to square out. Well, what do we do with all this? We're never going to get to heaven, so it's not at that. It's the heart of it is. I often you listen to my grandmothers, Lord rest them, and even my mother, and she said, God, all those children, sure we had nothing, but we had plenty. And then they always tell you the same thing. But sure, we were happy. And they had nothing. They'd absolutely, you probably have that memory too of people, People had everything, but they had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And St. Martin testifies to that all through his life about the poor. He always preferred to be with poor people because he said they were happy. They had nothing, and yet they were thankful for everything they had. And it's that kind of spiritual poverty. An elderly priest above, who died a few years ago, used to say to us as young brothers, the vow of chastity will hit you when you're young, he used to say. And he said, and your obedience will hit you in your 50s when you want to do your own thing, he said. And he said, then it's the vow of poverty. And we could never figure that because the same man never went out, and spent nothing. He didn't have anything to spend. But he used to say, the poverty wasn't just money. He used to say, it's letting someone care for you was poverty. That's what he used to teach us. He used to say, to let someone care for you. The same man had to be minded in his bed for 2 years, in his own bed, to be lifted and washed. And he used to struggle. And you have to ask yourself that too. Will I let myself be helped? Will I let myself be helped? When you end up in hospital and you don't want to be in there and you're feeling sorry for yourself, or you're in bed, and will I let myself? That's real poverty. Will I allow myself become dependable on another? My mother always says, I prefer to be shot than to be minded. So we could manage that for you too if you want. No, we wouldn't. But it's a hard thing to do, isn't it? It's to let someone care for you, particularly if you have been a carer yourself. But what Jesus is saying is will you become dependable on God? That's what he's saying. You can store up all the money in the world, and I've seen that, not personally in my own life, but you can have everything. But in the very end, you can't bring it with you. You could have millions in the bank, but you still might need to be lifted in bed and dressed. It makes no difference to you, no matter what you have. The old saying, you never see a trailer on the back of a hearse. Can't bring it with you. The coffin is only a certain size. It's a bit like the eye of the camel. It's only a narrow stretch. You're going to fit in there probably with no shoes on you. We all go the same way in many ways. But even for this gospel today, think about that. Do I allow myself to be cared for by others? Or do I want to be my own boss? Because it's going to face all of us. It's going to face all of us. I see it in religious communities. We have to allow people to care for us, and it's a struggle to let go of that, to let go of your independence. That's a letting go. I remember the day that man died, and the night before, we had to wash him in bed, and we had always given him his dignity. We always gave him his dignity in all care. And the night before he died, he was on morphine, and he was suffering a lot, and we had to change him. and going up two of his brothers. And I remember he just lifted the sheet off him in the bed. And God love him, he was like Christ in the bed, his arms open and his little legs crossed. And he allowed us to wash him, wash him. Probably the last time he was washed in this world, But to wash those priestly hands, which had anointed and absolved for over 70 years, to lift him like a baby and to prepare him for the next journey. It's always a question for me, am I going to be like that, or will I be kicking and scratching and tearing and holding on for dear life? Like the rich young man, holding on to it. You can't hold on to it. Everything will come eventually. But he allowed us graciously to wash his little hands and to wash his feet and to prepare him for the next day, which was the big journey, So ask yourself that, am I a good patient or am I a bad one? Would St. Martin be able to mind you? Would he be able to mind you? Because that's what he did. He washed and he cared and he lifted and he allowed, people allowed him. He didn't always get it easy, by the way. He didn't always get it easy. But it's a real hard thing. Will I be a good patient, and will I become dependable on others and allow myself to become poor in front of other people? So let's turn to